Man, it's been a minute. Welcome to Man Cave Media. Welcome back, I should say. It's been a while since I released a video. My apologies. I was on vacation with my family, and then shortly after that vacation, I came down with a little bit of a head cold, so I have not been back here to record a video for a while, and kind of trying to get back into my groove. Today we are reviewing a mechanical keyboard, another mechanical keyboard, I should say. Yes, I have a problem with mechanical keyboards, but can you blame me? This particular one is by Gravastar. And if you're not familiar with that company, they kind of made their name making crazy looking Bluetooth speakers like this. They also make, all sorts of computer peripherals and whatnots. And they have recently broken into the mechanical keyboard game. The keyboard that we have here is the Mercury K1 Pro, and it is in the concrete gray colorway. I had my finger over the Cyberpunk version for a short amount of time, but the price point, it wasn't doing it for me. Extra $50 for the Cyberpunk version, it's okay. This has everything the Cyberpunk version has minus the special edition keycaps, and I think it uses a different switch, if I'm not mistaken, but has the aluminum frame, has all the goodies on the inside, and we'll get into that in a moment. But right now, let's go ahead and get it out of the box, shall we? And check it out. All right. Packaging is very nice. It's got a lot of weight to it. I'm not sure if that's hold on. What's going on here? It's got that issue with the friction box. I hate that. There we go. As I was saying, it's got a lot of weight to it. I'm not sure how much of that is packaging and how much of that is the actual keyboard. We're going to find out soon enough. One thing that's noticeably missing is the presence of any tape. Nothing is taped down. There is the keyboard itself, front and center. I really like this color of the keycaps here. What's going on? Does this come out? It does. Okay. I really like the color of these keycaps, the concrete colorway. Oh, it's heavy. Yeah, so the bulk of the weight is the actual keyboard. This thing's substantially heavy. Anyways, let's get this out of the way for the moment. Let's see what else we get in the box. Oh, we got some sample switches. Interesting. This is undoubtedly a cable, probably. Yep. So we got some documentation here. We got a USB A to C cable, an extra enter key and escape key, because the enter and escape key are different on the actual keyboard right now. I'll get to that in a moment. And they give you a very generic cleaning cloth. So what else we got here? This looks like a keycap puller. The foam is very dense and very deep. Not easy to get that out. Yep, keycap puller. Oh, it doubles as a switch. It's got a switch puller on one end. I didn't notice that right away. It's got a switch puller on one end, keycap puller on the other end. That's pretty cool. This looks like some kind of brush if I can get it out. Yep. This is a cleaning tool. And then they included some switches here. So this, according to the legend that was provided, this is a silent blue switch. It does sound pretty silent. Man, this foam is killing me, dude. They gotta make this easier to get them out. Are there holes on the other side? This is nonsense. There's not, of course. Of course not. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the included switch puller. They make it impossibly hard to get anything out of this foam. It's annoying. Switch puller to the rescue. This one is a... Oh, I can't pronounce that. Platicodon switch? Platicodon switch. Oh, it's clicky. It's also boxed. But I can't read that. Maybe you guys can read that. My camera's not going to pick that up. But anyways, yeah, I can't. Let's put that back over. I can't pronounce that. So you can't read it. I can't pronounce it. The next one is a Crackle Ice box switch. Again, if I can get it out, that'd be fantastic. This foam is killing me. Gravastar. Bro. If anybody is watching this from Gravastar, I doubt it, but if you are, shallower foam, dude. Goodness. So Crackle Ice box switch. It's also very clicky. And finally, we have a baby white switch. It's got a good sound to it. Not terribly clicky. And that appears to be all, unless there's something else hiding in this dense ass foam. Let's get this very annoying box out of the way. And get to the star of the show. So it's got this little plastic cover on it. Oh, feels like it's got tape. And it does. First time I've come across tape in this entire unboxing. Can't say I'm mad at that. I kind of appreciate the absence of tape. Off it goes. Very nice. Very nice indeed. I was expecting a pretty... Oh my god, this sounds so good. Oh my goodness, that sounds so good. I was expecting good build quality from Gravastar because like I said, I do have one of their alien-esque Bluetooth speakers, and it is excellent build quality. And this is no different. It has an all aluminum frame. It's got very substantial weight. Oh, those click. It's got legs on the back here that adjust the height of the keyboard, and they make a very satisfying click sound. I enjoy that. These are only available on the Pro models, the Cyberpunk and this one. The regular ones don't have that. But that's a nice little feature. It's got a volume up and down. Ooh, that also has a very satisfying click. I don't know if my microphone's going to pick that up or not, but that's a really, really heavy button. Very satisfying. But most importantly, oh, the sound that this makes when you type, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that sounds really good. All right, let's get into the specs of this thing, shall we? So far, I'm nothing but impressed with this keyboard. The sound is, get it close to the mic. The sound is incredible. It sounds really nice. Very, very, very comparable, if not identical, to my Mel Geek keyboard that I reviewed a few months back. Very similar sound, very satisfying. I like it a lot. So this is a 79% keyboard, so you do get some function keys and you do get some other like dedicated keys that you normally would not get with a compact keyboard. So this control knob up here in the corner, they mentioned on their website, it is programmable. So it's got a speaker logo on it with a plus and a minus. So I'm gonna use it for volume because I mean it looks like that's what it's intended for. But according to their website, you could use the software to program this button for your own bidding. It comes with double shot PBT keycaps. I really do like this colorway. I'm gonna leave these in for a while before I swap them out. I will eventually swap them out for something with a bit more pop. These are a little bit muted for my taste, but I do like this color, this like shade of gray, and the enter button that they give you has a nice little pop of blue there, and then the escape key is a nice little pop of yellow. So that helps. Once I get it turned on and get the RGB going, I might change my mind about swapping these out. The switches that it comes with, here, let's see if I can get a look at it. Actually, it looks like this guy right here. Nope, it's different. The switches that it comes with, it is a collaboration with Kale and Gravastar, and they call it the Speedy Mint linear switch. It has 45 grams of it has 45 grams of actuation. Can't talk today. It has 45 grams of actuation force, which feels really satisfying. The switches that I have currently in my main keyboard are 65 grams, or a bit heavier than this, but this feels pretty good for 45. It is a smooth linear switch and sounds amazing. It has a gasket mount design, very similar to the Mel Geek keyboard, with sound dampening foam. And I mean, I know that the glorious keyboard that I have here on my desk is very bare bones and has no foam or anything in it at all, but it makes you appreciate the enthusiast level keyboards when you get one that does have some sound deadening in it and the foam. It makes you appreciate it more, like the sound that you get from something like that. It has a dual independent RGB. So it has RGB lights around the outside of the keyboard that you can control independently from the RGB lights under the keycaps, which I think is pretty cool. If you want some different lighting effects. Has a very large 8,000 milliamp hour battery. So should be able to get quite a bit of life out of this thing. It does support tri-mode connectivity with a Bluetooth connection, 2.4 gigahertz connection, or a wired connection. So very similar to Keychron in that respect. If you have a Keychron keyboard, they support similar connectivity. This is going to take over the day-to-day use of my main keyboard on my bench here. It's going to retire the Glorious. This is no knock on Glorious at all. I can't express how much I love that keyboard for its customization, but it's getting a little long in the tooth and it's time to move on from that guy. So this is going to take over day to day for that. So I will use the 2.4 gigahertz connection for this keyboard, mostly for the gaming latency. So as I mentioned already, it does use the pour-on sandwich foam and also pour-on button foam. And then it has a separate piece of silicone also for more sound deadening. And I can't describe how good this sounds. It's a very good sounding keyboard. Let's get it plugged in so we can have a look at the RGB, shall we? So really quick, as I'm plugging it in, let me go over the buttons on the back. So on this side, you have one that switches between the 2.4 gigahertz, the cabled connection, and the Bluetooth connection. And then on the other side, we have a button that switches between Mac and Windows, which I will use both. I have a Mac that I use for video editing, and then of course I have my gaming PC on a KVM. So then right in between those two buttons, you have your USB port. It is USB-C. Here's the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. Stores underneath. For your convenience, let's get it plugged in here. Check out that beautiful RGB, which scientifically proven to increase frame rates, right? All right, there it is, instantly lit up. That's cool. So next to the arrow keys, it's got a little holographic looking widget that I wonder if you can change that in the software. We'll get into that in a moment. Let's take a look at the different RGB modes, shall we? So the legs even have RGB ambient light. It does support 3 Bluetooth devices. It says so right here in the manual, so it is exactly like a Keychron keyboard as far as connectivity goes. So lighting effects. Without the use of the software, function tab changes the color. Oh, there's some RGB right there. There's red. There's green. Purple. Like an alien yellowish greenish color. More purple. Blue. Oh, I like that blue. That's nice. Like a lighter kind of blue, and then back to RGB. So let's cycle back through here and let's leave it on there. I like that color. And then function and up increases and decreases the brightness. So it was already at full brightness. And then function left arrow will decrease the speed of the breathing. And hopefully in the software, I can turn the breathing off altogether because I don't want that. For the ambient lights around the outside, so let me clarify, those shortcut keys were only affecting the RGB under the keycaps, not the ambient. The ambient is still the same as it was when I plugged it in. It is a different switch combination for the ambient. So to change the ambient light color, it's a function question mark. Oh, there's red, green, blue, like an alien yellow again, purple, and there's the blue to match what I have set underneath, just to give you an idea what that looks like. It's really nice. And then for the brightness, it's function and the less than key, which it was already on the highest brightness. All right, let's go ahead and get it connected up to my main rig here. I'll do some typing tests and then I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, first let's do some typing tests, shall we? Oh man, this is an absolute joy to type on. I can't get over how much I like this thing. Looks great, sounds great. Let's download some software, shall we? There's something I want to point out. Their website, it's a flaw in the navigation. Up here on the top, it should really be under more. for the software download, but it's not under any of these drop down menus. It's not really anywhere near the top banner like it should be. It's all the way down at the bottom under support, software download. So something I wanted to point out that I found kind of annoying about their website, but let's go ahead and get the software downloaded. Another thing that I find annoying. So here's the software for Mercury keyboards, the K1 and K1 Lite, K1 Pro and K1 Lite, and they only have a download for Windows, which is kind of shitty. So anyways, I guess now's a good time to test it on my gaming rig because I need to switch over to Windows. So stand by. All right, I'm in Windows now on my gaming rig. So it shows on this. So now that I switched over to Windows, it does show that there is a firmware update for the K1 Pro. So I'm going to download that. And just a heads up, it does give you a warning that Google cannot scan it. Download anyway. So that's done. Now let's go back and let's get the software. Oh, that's funny. Clicked on the link for the software and there's the firmware upgrades as well. So you get a very similar error message. Which I care about none of that, I should say. So first let's do the firmware update. I wonder if it has to be, you know what, it probably has to be, oh, it triggered Defender. That's funny. Yeah, it probably has to be hardwired for this, so I'm going to skip that for the moment. And let's do, wow, I can't believe that their software triggers Windows Defender. That's funny. Run anyway. Oh, I jumped over here. Yes. So just a FYI, Windows 11 really does not like their software, which I find hilarious. So let's see if it will find the keyboard on the 2.4 gigahertz connection. It's not looking like it will. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it's not looking like it's going to find it. I'm going to go through and let's see. How am I going to do this? I really don't want to undo all of my cabling just to hardwire this keyboard right now. Goodness. Stand by. Yeah, so that's pretty annoying. Gravastar. I don't know if it will work better on the Bluetooth connection, but on the 2.4 gigahertz connection, the software does not recognize the keyboard. It could also be because I have it on a KVM. That might be the problem, but I had to hardline it for the software to recognize it. But here is what the software looks like. There is a fair amount of customization you can do. But let's jump into the RGB because I want to turn off the breathing and I want it to be static. So we have steady mode, which I think is static. There it is right there. Bam. First try. And then you can also get more specific with your color. It's got a color wheel. So that's obviously better than sifting through on the keyboard shortcut because you only get the pre-programmed RGB. But if you use the color wheel, you can get more specific with your color. The other thing I wanted to look at is, and I don't think it is customizable, but this button, and I don't see anywhere to change that. So I think that image is just, it's always that, which is still pretty cool, but I was curious to know if you could customize it or not, but it doesn't look like you can. So while I have it hardlined, I was going to wait to do this, but since I have it hardlined, let's go ahead and let's do the firmware update. See how that goes. Get the same error. It triggers the Windows Defender, Microsoft Defender. Keeps jumping different screens. That's also annoying. So it launches this very old school looking update tool. It says burning for some reason. That's weird. So a little butthole puckering moment. Hopefully it comes out on the other side. Oh, it said pass. Not sure what that means. Did it finish? So confused right now. The keyboard shut off. I mean, pass. What does that mean? Let's relaunch the software here and see if it still connects. Oh boy. All right, so after a reboot, it did come back to life. That was terrifying. So another thing that Gravastar needs to really improve on. But it did come back, and it did reset to factory settings. So the RGB changes I made did go back to factory. So let's go back and change them. Steady mode. How do you apply the changes? There we go. I really don't like this software. So it's very like not intuitive at all. To apply the changes you've made, you've got to click this little down arrow that you would not really notice even exists. Except that I hovered my mouse over it and I noticed that it said save. So leaves a lot to be desired. And I also cannot see a way to change within the software the ambient lighting around the outside. I don't see that anywhere. Is that this one? That's this one. Gentle dance? No. Do we have a stationary? Dazzling standard. Oh man, this is like... Nope, that's not the outside. This is something else. This is something else entirely. Let's turn that back off. Hey, nope. I'm very confused right now. Let's turn that off. Nope, that turns off the out. Oh, what is going on with this? I lost the down arrow that says save. So, you know what? I've decided the software is garbage. If you're going to do customizing to the keys, then this is going to be helpful for you. But just know that the save button is this little download error looking button, download button here. That saves it. So if you come in here to make any changes to your keys, you need to know that. Other than that, like for the RGB stuff, just cycle through. If you don't want to get granular with your color and you're okay with the preset, I would just cycle through the shortcut keys. Because the software is garbage. The software sucks. I don't like it. That's my final judgment, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so as you saw there, the software kind of sucks. If you're going to use it to do some customization on the keys, then of course it's going to be helpful. But otherwise, if you want to just use it to customize the RGB, if you want to get really specific about, hat's crooked. If you want to get really specific about what shade of color you want, then it'd be helpful to use the color wheel that they have in the software. Otherwise, my recommendation is to just cycle through it on the shortcut keys on the keyboard itself, because the software isn't very intuitive. It's kind of clumsy, and I don't like it at all. It's like most gaming keyboard software. It's poorly executed in my opinion. And worse than the software is that firmware update. Oh my goodness. Get ready for a stressful, anxiety-induced experience with that one. So just a heads up, if you buy this keyboard and you update the firmware out of the box, that was very butthole puckering. Because the software doesn't make any sense at all as far as like what it's telling you it's doing. Burning? What is this? CD burning software? What am I, in the early 2000s? It was very confusing for me. And then at the end, it just said pass, which, fantastic. It passed whatever it was doing. And the keyboard shut off. Didn't reboot. Didn't come back to life. Shut off completely. I had to unplug it, switch it from 2.4 gigahertz back to wired, plug it back in, and it came back to life. And it did update the firmware, but that was very stressful. If you just spent money on this thing and out of the box it's got a firmware update and you run it and that's your experience with it, it's anxiety inducing, man. That was terrible. So Gravastar, dude, I am going to leave a review for them on their website, but if anyone from Gravastar happens to be watching this video, I don't think they would be, but if you happen to be watching this video, please do something about that. That's terrible. The software for the keyboard itself, everyone's keyboard software kind of sucks, except for Glorious. Glorious's keyboard software is pretty good, but most of them kind of suck. Yours is terrible. It's terrible. Do something about that. But more importantly, that firmware update experience is horrendous. You got to do something about that. So that being said, those are the negatives. There are a lot of positives. This keyboard sounds really good. It feels great to type on. Very good build quality. I like the aluminum frame. I like the adjustable feet. The RGB on it is great, of course. If you care about RGB, some people don't. The ambient lighting is really nice. I like that the ambient lighting around the outside is independent from the key switch LEDs. So if you wanted to get creative there, you can change the ambient lights on the outside to a different color completely from the keycaps, which is, again, pretty cool. The keycaps themselves feel like they're good quality. The colors, pretty good. I'll probably stick with those for a while before switching. Like, I really like my Hawaii themed Tai Hao keycaps. I'll probably end up throwing those on there just because I'm very partial to those. But other than that, like, the quality of the keycaps is very good, and overall experience with the keyboard is good. It's positive. I like the connectivity, and again, I like the way it performs. Just be aware of that software and be aware of that firmware update. It's not a good experience. So that being said, I am still very happy to have the keyboard, and I am going to use it as a replacement for my main setup. And yeah, the pros outweigh the cons. It is a good keyboard, and I do recommend it. Just be wary of that update. All right, that's all I have for this one. Thank you again for stopping by. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed this video and help feed that algorithm. I hope you have a great evening, and like always, thank you for watching.